everybody, Indy here. Welcome to another edition of Sled Shed TV. Today we have Elka suspension in the shop, so come on back here and we'll show you what they sent us. Okay, so we're back here at the workbench, and this is what Elka sent us. They sent us their Stage 4 complete package, so that means we got Stage 4 fronts, Stage 4 center shock, Stage 4 rear shock. The TNT, the base model 850, comes with shocks with a set of springs on them and basically no adjustment except for the spring. On here, you're going to get, when you first call these guys, they're going to ask you your weight, your riding style, what conditions you're riding in, stuff like that, and they're going to fine tune these shocks to you. So these are personalized shocks to you and your riding style. The main piston inside the body is machined from billet aluminum, rectified and hard anodized. The shafts are extra large at 16 millimeter and displaces more oil for better dampening control. Stage 2, 4, and 5 models have the rebound adjuster, which allows you to match shock recovery to speed bump frequency. Stage 3, 4, and 5 models have the compression adjuster up here, which allows for extra comfort and control. The tank is an extra large reservoir with added oil volume for more consistent action and extended service intervals. This also has a low friction internal piston to separate oil from nitrogen for highly responsive ride. I really like the multi-spring configuration, which we don't have on the base model shocks. It provides for softer top travel than stock shocks and stronger lower travel to help resist the bottoming out problems that we have. Your key benefits on these are smoother, more comfortable and predictable ride, reduced ski lift and increased traction, better bump compliance, more resistance to bottoming, more effective adjustments with wider range of action, and an improved overall performance over the stock shocks. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go back here to the sled and we're going to start the install. Okay, so we're back here at the sled, and this is what I'm talking about. This is your base model shock, and this is your Elka Stage 4. I mean, just by looking at it, you can see that it's way more beefier than the stock just to begin with, let alone all the extra adjustments you're going to have to dial in your sled. So we're going to take this off. It's two 13 millimeter bolts. Stick this one back on. Our stock one's out. Put our new ones in, make sure the reservoir is facing forward. Okay, shock number 1 is on. Repeat the process for the left side, and then we'll go to the back. Okay, so before I put the other front shock on, I'm going to show you a comparison between the TNT model shock and the Elka shock. For one, you're going to see a bigger diameter shaft. It's going to take more abuse. Way more spring adjustment here compared to the stock. And then overall, you have your other adjustments out here and your rebound down at the bottom, which you're going to have on your X package shocks, but there's still going to be this shock with all this stuff on it. So it's still not as heavy duty as this one. Okay, so both our front shocks are now on. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the hood on, the 2 doors, and we're going to go to the back of the sled and put the rear shocks on. Back here at the back of the sled, there's a few things you're going to have to do before you swap the shocks out. You're going to have to take your outside idlers off, and you're going to have to unhook your rear springs to let all the spring pressure off the rear shock, and then you're going to have to take the limiter strap and undo it so that way you got pressure off of your front shock. And then you can go ahead and swap your shocks out. Okay, So we have the center shock out, and here again you can see how much more beefy the Elka shock is compared to the stock shock. This thing's going to take way more abuse than this thing is. Okay, so we're back here at the workbench again. We have a rear skid shock out, and you can see again the difference in the shaft diameter and the seals and the wipers, the difference in size and quality. Plus, this is removable and rebuildable, where this shock is not. You're going to end up tossing this out way before you're going to get this one rebuilt and put back in the sled. Okay, so both of our shocks are now in the skid. One thing I will say, we added a hose clamp around the reservoir at the very end just for vibration issues, just in case. It's just in case. You don't have to do it, but we like to do it. The only thing I got left now is to put the limiter strap back on, our 4 wheels, our idler wheels, and our springs. Hook them back up, and the job is done. So that's the Elka suspension install. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. You have to move a few things out of the way in the rear skid, but other than that, it's real easy install. And with everything coming set up for your weight rider or whatever, very few small fine adjustments you're going to have to do on the trail, if any at all. I know last year when we had it on the 13 Renegade, all we had to do was 2 or 3 clicks on the rear skid shock. Other than that, everything else was set good, and we rode it the way it was. If you're interested in anything that Elka Suspension has to offer, just go to www.elkasuspension.com and see what they have for your ride. So for that, I'm Indy, and if we don't see you before, we'll see you on the trail.